Yeah, I think at the beginning here, that's
Yes.
when I started hearing stuff.
So here we had here a division of labor, as they explain it. So someone who mounted, right? Then we have someone who made scabbard maker. So there was a division of labor, scabbard maker. Then here we go to different ones, right? So the wood maker then came here, and engravers by or and argent means by gold and also by with silver. That's what they did, and someone polisher and also sharpener. That's what that's what they did, right? Polisher and sharpener. That's what they did. Then here, which we come here, then the people who came and then made different types of bayonets, then also working with different metals. They worked here, we see it with iron, with bronze, and with laiton, which is then this. We made it with these different types, right? Which is, as we know that, like a brass and different type of things they made. Laiton is brass, and then here we have here different things. We have copper again, zinc, and things like that. What do you think about this beat?
Well, this is it. It's 19th century. It's modern manufacturing.
Yes.
Without the computerized stuff, but it's the this is pre Henry Ford production lines. I mean, it's the same thing, except, and it's funny, in arms, it often was that kind of advanced manufacturing organization was developed because you needed lots of swords or lots of guns. Or I mean, even in the medieval times, you needed lots of arrows, and they had to be of a certain standard. So the kind of mass production, even if it wasn't necessarily like in a factory, maybe you sent off a group of swords that needed their scabbards fitted correctly to a particular workshop in a neighboring village or something like that. It didn't have to be under the same roof, but it was a division of labor, as you said before.
Yes. For example, here, if you go to Fondeur, which is, he's melting that. So he made different molds, as he says in French. And then these different molds, he was specialized in melting bronze. He was specialized in melting brass, copper, and also pewter, which is étain, and zinc. So he could melt them, and in different molds, he was specialized in different metals and make different parts for this scabbard or sword or whatever. So you see that? So as you said, pre Henry Ford, completely different division of labor. Absolutely.
Well, this is it. See, I mean, obviously, Henry Ford's contribution to the automotive industry is undoubted, but the concept of manufacturing by different people making different parts and then other people fitting them together, this goes back a long time. And this is obviously, like in the 19th century, it was really quite well organized.
Yes. Then hardening the blade, right? So this they could harden and temper the blades, temper. So that's what they did, right? So there were different people who did that, took care of the process. Right? And then forging smiths, they forged it. So completely division of labor.
Yeah,
and you can unbelievable.
Each step, so you get the highest quality.
Yes. So you see that the whole thing explained, and now look at this beat. That's an original forge.
Oh, I know a lot of blacksmiths that would love to go there.
And it's
When I
functional. Once a
maybe
week, they come and make a blade. You can go and see that. They're small blades, they forge it, and they use these materials. They use it with, they use it in front of you.
that's amazing. And the thing, of course, because they use it, it has to be maintained because it's got to work. So you get a
Yes.
much better impression of what it's really like than you would if you saw a whole heap of things just. Well, I was going to say hanging on the wall. Obviously, there are things hanging on the wall there, but that's so you can reach the tool that you want when you
Look
need
at
it.
this one. You see that? What it is?
Oh, the bellows.
Exactly, bellows. Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably a rope goes down to it. Well, I can see a chain.
Yeah.
I assume that, well, a lot of bellows like that were foot operated, that a chain went down and you trod on it and it closed.
Here. You're right, here.
But I'm not sure. Well, yeah, it's bellows are really interesting because the leather working in bellows, you've got to be really careful when you make them because you can't have any holes in the wrong place. I I I'm looking at some of the clamps, the bench clamps, the big steel ones. I So many of the people I knew that got involved in blacksmithing used to hang around used tool stores and that looking for these because they were, they didn't make them anymore quite the same way, but there were a lot of antique ones and they were just as good. I mean, for the purposes, maybe not up to the standards of making 10 blades a day or something, but certainly one blade a week, they'd be good enough for. Oh, the anvils, yeah.
Anvil, yeah. Quite big, huh?
Yeah, yeah. And anvil seems always to be mounted on sections of tree trunk.
Yes.
And just they just hammered in things to hold the anvil in place. Because obviously, even though the anvil's really heavy,
Yes.
they're hitting it really hard sometimes.
Yes.
It's got to be very stable, otherwise you can't produce the fine work that you're doing. Yeah, that's a classic looking anvil there.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Mm.
And look at this. They made also look at this
Diorama.
and listen to
Yeah.
this if you can hear.
Of it. It's a working model of a tripper hammer.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's so good. Yeah, as I say, I know quite a few people that'd be really ranked in this.
It's unbelievable. They made also these small models. So you see these large ones, but they made small ones. So you can imagine how it operated.
Yeah, well, this is the whole thing. You get a chance to see how people did things. It's
Yeah.
all very well to read it in a book, but when you actually see a diorama with a working, moving model, that's amazing. I love it.
Yes. So you can go
The little
here
the,
and
the little boy in me would have loved to have a model kit to make one of those when I
yes.
was a 10-year-old.
And that's a large one. You see that what we saw before? This is the
Yeah,
real big one in this
yeah,
model.
all iron
Yes.
parts.
See? Yeah.
That must, yeah, and run by a belt down to the big wheels.
Yeah. That's
Oh
right.
yeah, you can all different parts of the machinery.
Yeah. So you see here they explain it exactly, and there's old pictures of the same thing, which is
Oh,
now
in
polished.
use. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I see. There's the diagram of how it works inside.
Yes.
Yeah, that's. Oh, look at how deeply they're mounted into the ground for stability because they're so heavy.
Ah, that's right. I didn't realize. Yeah. Deeply
Just a,
mounted in the ground. Yeah.
Mm. So
That's right.
this, I think of people when they buy machinery for their workshop, and you have these little screw down things to stop them rolling on their wheels and that. But look at that, that's serious. Once that starts
Unbelievable.
going, the ground must shake when it's running.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And these are also others, as you can see it here.
Oh yeah.
Very, very beautiful. Very beautiful.
See, this is industrial design in the 19th century was
Yes.
real design in the sense that they didn't want them just to work, they wanted them to look good while they did it. And that's
Yes.
just those curves and everything. It's really, really well designed.
Yes. And here we also here they talk about what iron ore, all these raw materials they found. Yes.
Yeah.
They talk about it, so you can really read what they found it close to there. And look at here now, please, Pete. Again,
So
do you see the guards, hand guards?
also they're laid out flat and then they shape them. So they're showing you the whole process.
Yes, the whole
Flat
process.
metal cut out into the shape to
Yes.
the beautiful folded basket that encloses your hand.
Yes. You can
And
see it now. Look.
interesting machines for being used. Yeah. Oh yeah. So there you see the virtually, yeah. So all the different stages of production and masses. So they'd be produced. Somebody be casting them. Somebody else would be bending them to shape. They probably
Yes.
had to anneal them repeatedly as they bent them until they got them just right.
Yes, that's
Oh
right.
yeah, that's yeah. Oh well, don't we all have some of those at home? I
Yes.
do. Oh yeah.
Very
See, this is
beautiful.
again, this is like walking into somebody's workshop
Yes,
100 years ago.
absolutely. And
This is
here more
a great way
pictures.
to start the
We
museum.
look at the different designs. Aren't they beautiful?
Mm. Yeah, and they've got a whole range of decoration that's put on before they bend them into shape because that's when it's easy. I think it's cast in.
Yes.
Um, I'm guessing that the machine on the right is a roller press for rolling out sheets of metal or something. Because this is much softer metal, brass and various alloys. Uh,
Yes.
but yeah, that again, it's I can't read what it says about the stone box. I assume that
Oh, it's too
tells,
small for me to look at it.
yeah, probably says something about holding charcoal to anneal things. Because when you, particularly copper-based alloys, when you hammer them, they get harder. So you've got to periodically heat them to
Yes.
soften them up again so you can shape them more easily.
Look how many of them are put on top of each other. Look at
Oh
this.
yeah, well this is the production line. We stack them up, take 20 over to the guy that curves them, and then when he's done that, they take somebody else to fit them on the sword and make any final
Yes.
adjustments. I like it. They've got a sword in the background there to show you how it all fits together.
Yes.
I think that very yellowish one right at the back may be a pattern for making a sand mold to cast the metal into rather than,
Yeah.
but yeah, so this is all, the whole process laid out.
Yes. Okay, Pete. We finished the first set, but because there are different ones, I hope because I made it, there are different slides. If you wish, we can move on to the second set of our slides.
Let's see what we can see next.
Sure. Okay, let me just go ahead and we will continue here then. Let me see. Yeah, here. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Beautiful, huh? Look.
Yeah. So, for a mechanical hammer for forging.
Yes.
I mean, you can see this on YouTube where people are using the modern version of this, or sometimes it's not that modern. It might be the 1930s version of it because that's the one they could find and restore. And these things are really improve the speed and the consistency that the blacksmith can make. I mean, if you're making one sword blade, a hammer and an anvil, you're right. But if you're making 100 a week, or I don't know
You
what the
need
rate
that.
was. Might have been more than
You
that.
need
This is the advanced way of doing it. And of course, in other factories, they could be making other things using similar types of hammer. It's all really solid stuff. I'm just looking at the stuff in the glass case. It's all, super strong. Oh, here we are, scabbard making.
Yes.
A bow saw, lots of planes, parts of scabbards cut out. You can see how they've hollowed out for where the blade goes in. This is totally understandable to me. I've made a couple of scabbards. One of these days I've got to make one for some of my curved swords. Making them for straight swords is really easy. Making them for curved swords is a real, yeah. So these ones I recognize nearly all the tools in there.
What is this tool? Can you explain to our viewers what this tool?
That's a saw.
Mm-hmm.
The blade is held under tension. So on one side there's the blade, on the other side it's a cord or a rope, and you put a piece of wood through the cord and twist it, and that pulls the ends together. I've actually got one laying around somewhere. Pulls the ends together and puts the saw blade under a lot of tension, so you don't have to use this much metal in the saw blade to get the stiffness you require. And because of the nature of these things, if you put the sword, like in China, they use these all the time, but they put the saw blade in at 45 degrees angle. So they hold it like that, and you can cut really thick things with it, just go down. And it's the effort required to cut is so much less than using a big bladed sword where there's a lot of friction. This only has friction along that tiny, thin little blade. So the blade is on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, they've got a twisted wire thing. They've probably got a screw device to put tension on that to hold the blade stiff. When you want to change the blade, say the blade breaks or something like that, you reduce the tension, the two parts go closer together and the blade unhooks and comes out, and you just put a new blade in. So it's something like a hacksaw, but it's a much more practical design for a lot of things. I had an antique one, and I modified it to take hacksaw blades because I could get the deeper cuts because you could, change the angle. And you can saw with the teeth facing forward, or you can saw with the teeth facing back. Mostly it's teeth facing forward because you've got this rigid blade, but it's so small in cross section that there's very little friction in the wood. Very efficient type of saw, and easy to make. It's something a home handyman could make easily. There's your cursors. Was sitting on a brace and bit, which is for drilling holes. So what have we got here?
I think these are metal scabbards now.
Yeah, I think the thing in the vise is the mandrel that you form the metal scabbard around. That makes perfect sense. And they're different ones for different swords. So that they're stacked up on, and they've even got a groove. When you put the vise on them, there's a groove in the base of the mandrel so it can't move up.
Yeah, here.
Yeah. What an
Exactly.
excellent. I'm sure everybody that does things like this already knows that.
Yes.
But it's new to me. I really think it's a good idea.
I think, because you make things, I'm a researcher and a martial artist, but I think especially for someone who is skilled with his hands, as you are, I think these videos and these pictures are very interesting for you, right?
I mean, I keep learning new things because, my theory is you only stop learning when you die. And I'm not even sure if that's true. But you kind of see how other people solve problems. And sometimes it's better than what you come up with. Sometimes it's quicker.
Pete, as you said it, look at here. Here's in the vise. This part, the groove is in the vise. Yeah, exactly. Now I see that.
That's how it fits. It's such a good idea. I'm going to have to, next time I make something, I need to hold a mandrel. I'm going to have to try that out. Because I just make it flat. I hadn't even thought of that. It stops it from twisting.
Yeah,
but then again, I'm not a brilliant craftsman. I just like making things.
Very
Uh,
nice.
mm,
Very nice. So here we have a close up, better
yeah.
view. Yeah.
What gets me is there's ones for short, straight, probably bayonets at the bottom,
Yeah.
and then swords, and then moving up into sabers and cavalry sabers are longer than infantry sabers, more
Yeah.
curve. So each one is specific. I'm sure that people even specialized in making, say, curved ones because you need a slightly different set of skills for that. So the guy that's good at that, he gets put on those. He produces them, twice as fast as everybody else because
Yes.
that's where his skill lies.
Yes.
I really like that kind of problem solving that you see in tools.
Yes.
People underestimate how smart workmen can be when they're trying to solve a problem.
That's true. So again, this wood making, we saw that before.
Yeah, you can see it all there.
Yeah. Now we will move on and go to one interesting area, polishing stones.
Oh, right. Yeah, I thought I recognized some of those. These are, some are intact, some are broken.
Yeah, some are broken, yes.
Yeah, well, I mean they're stone, and if you use them a lot, then the vibration eventually something cracks and you get a break. And of course, some stones have weaknesses in them. By some stones, I mean you pick up a boulder out of a stream or something, and it may be totally solid, or it may have a internal crack that you can't see, and you drop it and it just falls open. And if you're lucky, you find a fossil. But right, so what we're doing here.
So here you can see they explain the whole polishing
Oh,
process.
right. So this is hollow grinding the blades,
Yeah,
how to get special shapes in.
yeah,
Oh, that explains what those ones with the multiple grooves. So that's
yes,
you step by step deepen the groove
yes,
to hollow ground the fuller. So you hammer the fuller in first, but it's
yes,
rough. And
yes.
then by careful polishing, you can get it down exactly right.
Beat, look at this here, for example. We know that some of the sabers look like that. Look
Yeah,
at
so
this
that's
one. Look at this one. Beautiful,
oh
huh?
yeah.
Look at
So that
this
one
one.
actually, yes. So I'm guessing here that the person that uses these stones had to every now and then go back with a very hard piece of metal to redress them into exactly the right shape because they'd wear down. Every sword blade you did, you probably had to do some refixing the shape back in. But see, they've taken a complex cross section, like in the some of them have two fullers, some of them have, and I mean two fullers on each side or one fuller on each side, so that they've got a raised part of the wheel that will take the rough cut version of that and smooth it right down to
I
what you
need
see a sword.
Yes, I need to say something to everyone who views this channel. Of course, most people are interested in beautiful Persian blades, and also many are interested in Ottoman or Caucasian, Chinese, Japanese, Asian blades, right? Middle Eastern, Asian, or whatever. Guys, when you see, please, next time, a 17th, 18th, even 19th century blade, European blade, don't say, oh, these are not machine made, guys. Please have some respect for them. I really need to make this point, right? Because, because they mix them up and they see them because they're polished blank, right? These
Yeah,
are not these modern made things you can go and buy, these are real handmade blades, guys. So they deserve respect. I really need to say that, Pete,
yeah. Well, so easy for us to look at things and well, it's so perfectly made, it must have been totally machine made. Whereas
Yes,
you see here that there are definitely machines being used, but the
yes,
skill level of the person using the machine is what makes the good sword.
yes.
I mean,
Very
I'm
close.
deeply impressed by this.
Look at this
Oh,
bead.
just showing you how they do it. Oh, that's perfect. So, so this is a bayonet that's got a blade, something like a small sword blade with a triangular shape with a ridge down one side and flat on the other side. So
Hey, do you remember in the collection in the beginning, in the other slide set, we saw these wooden parts look like that. Do you remember in the collection? Yes.
Oh, I've just realized what some of these things are. So you've got your wooden block with a groove in it so you can hold the blade
Yes.
perfectly flat.
Yes.
Then you've got a block that's got an edge on it so that
Yes.
when you're holding the the rib onto
Yes.
the grooved grinding wheel, you can hold it precisely. But then at the bottom, you've got
Yes.
this metal piece so you can check the
Yes.
different shapes all the way along the blade to make sure everything.
Exactly. Here it says calibre pour la vérification des formes de la lame. That's
Yeah.
exactly what you said in French. They say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
beautiful, isn't it? It's really unbelievable.
It does help that they said what it was because I at first I wasn't sure. And then for calibration of the curve of the shape.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it says. Yes.
I actually engineers that I know and people that do metalworking, this is a very normal thing.
Yes.
Um, people that work with metal and make shapes and that, they're all aware of all this type of tooling. It's just the general public like us that's surprised when they see how straightforward. It's not super complicated when you think about it. It's very straightforward, but somebody had to think about it first to get it right. There's an
Oh, yeah.
actual thing like that metal thing that's used in arrow making to get like in Turkey and Iran to
Yes.
get the diameters of the arrow at various stages exactly right. So this is universal for
Yes. So it
people
says
working on.
that major steps for model 1728 bayonet grinding. And they had all
Uh,
these tools in the collection, these wooden parts. Do you remember? An
yeah.
exhibition. Yeah.
Do you notice the wheel? They're showing you the wheel is made out of segments like a pie,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then it has a band.
Yes.
I assume that band, it could be metal, but it may be leather and it may be covered with fine polishing powder like
Mhm.
Jeweler's Rouge or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just that it's they've got every level of polishing there. They're
Mhm.
polishing the flats, they're polishing the curves, and they've got tools precisely designed to hold everything in the right place.
Pete, do you remember those big, large stones, polishing
Yeah,
stones? Now look at these ones.
these are for detailed finishing work, aren't they?
Yes. They are. Yeah.
Yeah, I love. And notice again, square holes to make them turn with the axle because the axle's where the power comes from.
And the curator told me when they started this project to collect, some of them, sword collectors had them, but sometimes they went from house to house in the town, also
Yeah,
neighboring villages, and then said some old people had some of the stones somewhere. They didn't know
yeah.
what they were. So they said, "Do you want to contribute to the museum?" So that's the way they collected all these beautiful things. You
No,
know,
that's
amazing.
yeah. It's and I mean just think you see it when you see people they go to something like the Antiques Roadshow and they bring something in. I'm not really sure what this is. And then when somebody tells them what it really is,
Yeah,
it's so thrilling for the person.
yeah.
I mean, I can imagine these people saying, well, yeah, that was in Granddad's room, but I don't know what it is. And then somebody comes, oh, yeah, this is for polishing the grooves in swords or something. Oh, that's nice. It makes our lives better, but
Look how large the stone is.
yeah, it's massive. Well, you
How
can see it.
large.
There's one leaning against the wall there,
Yeah,
behind it in
exactly.
the photograph, I mean.
Yeah, that one
Yeah.
is even be larger than this one. But look at this. This is really large stones.
Hmm. And of course, there's benefits because they build up angular momentum and they're like flywheels. They want to go at a constant speed. So once you've got it just right, all of your polishing works better because you know exactly what speed and how long you can hold the blade against it before it gets hot and all kinds of things like that. And there's one of those groove wheels set up, which is amazing. These are these are forms or like there's a wheel in the background that looks carved out of two pieces, but that's probably not true. So they're the pieces that hold the wheels from the side, I think.
Here we have a picture of workers there. Look at them.
Yeah. A wide variety of mustaches for the people that have them. The
I mean,
blade.
this guy looks like one of those guys who served General Custer in
Yeah,
his.
yeah, he doesn't.
Exactly.
Well, this is the thing that we forget is that the American West was populated from a lot by people that came from Europe.
Exactly.
Brought men and stashes with them.
And one of his lieutenants, what was his name? Oh my God, I should know American history. I forgot his name, but he served under General Custer.
Mm.
Yeah, and
Oh,
he was
yeah, that's
also killed in that battle, but I forgot his name, but it doesn't matter. So, look at them, Bede. They're holding the blades, right?
yeah, and very proud of their work too, which, reasonable. They're
Yes,
doing
absolutely.
good stuff. I just think it's really good that they actually took photographs of them. Oh, so that's the different styles of bluing on
Yes,
those.
gilding, bluing, and different, and then the process also here. Then they show you can see how they used it,
Oh
what they
yeah,
used, everything beautifully
yeah. You
explained.
can see the sword blade is partially blued, gilded, and everything like that.
Yes,
And those blades at the back look like dinner knives or
yes.
butter knives. And so that's the perfect way of showing the different colors you can put into the steel by heating it to a certain temperature and letting it cool. So that's a really good thing for people to see because it's easy to talk about, but when you see it, you realize how intense those colors are.
That's why I think I really would like, this is located in a small town. It's not in Paris, it's not in London, it's not in Washington, D.C., it's not in Rome, it's not in Frankfurt, in Berlin, whatever, in Madrid, it's in a small town. Please, guys, go there and support this museum because it's
Oh,
so
yeah.
wonderful. I've
Well, there
never
are so
seen a museum showing all these steps from weapon manufacturing, really.
well. See, the thing is, weirdly enough, there's probably a lot more people interested in swords now than there were 50 years ago.
Yes, yes, I
And
agree.
those people, well, all of the people I've ever met interested in swords, when they got to see real swords or something as fully rounded as this, showing how swords were made and everything was made, it makes their enjoyment much better.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. The more knowledge you have, the more enjoyable it is.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. We've got our cleaning rag.
Yes,
Actually, they're probably polishing compounds in those little pots, aren't they? Again,
yes.
my eyesight's not good enough to read the tags, but
Yes. Cleaning rag there. Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
Everything there.
because this is the real thing. We're trying to show you everything that goes on. Yeah,
Oops,
that's
sorry.
interesting.
Okay.
Oh, look at the workmanship on that.
Yeah. So you can have a short clip on it.
Yeah, get the feel of the shapes of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is so yeah, because there's cleaning rags and there's polishing compounds. And possibly they had several grades of fineness until you get the finest one to get the mirror polish on parts of the blade.
Yes.
Um,
So
look at the design of that bluing. I mean, that's incredible. If a
incredible.
painter did that, you'd say that's really good. But they're doing this with oxides on metal by changing the temperature and having reserve like bits of clay and whatever to keep one bit cooler.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing work. Right.
yeah.
So
This is
here it
beautiful.
explains, for example, for gilding the dorure and here blowy. So bluing, they explain everything here for you. And now here we have, for example, one of them who worked there, right? Charles Wolfe, right? He did all these beautiful things. He was engraver and also gilder. That's
Mhm.
what he blued, and he was very famous. So, and you can see sometimes he also signed his work on these blades. That's what he did.
Yeah, they're absolutely beautiful
Charles Wolfe
design.
design is there. Here you can see that.
Yeah.
Another famous one was Francois Javier Biche. So he also signed. You can see, his work as well, what he did on the blades, some of his patterns.
Well, see, the thing is that this is just like jewelers' designs when they're
Yes,
making fine jewelry.
absolutely.
I mean, it's for a sword, but the concept and the execution is pretty much the same.
Yes. Then we have another one, Francois Joseph Biche is another one, right? So you can see also about their life, but here in museum they explain to you more about these
Yeah,
gentlemen.
I would say for people who professionally make replica swords, going
Yes.
to a place like this would give you a great insight into how to decorate the swords properly.
Yes.
I'm not sure anyone making a replica sword would go to that much trouble, but maybe they would.
Yes.
I mean, it's really quite a technically interesting thing if you do this kind of work.
Yes.
But if you're just a member of the general public, it's fascinating to see how much thought goes into what ends up on the sword blade.
Here you see that 1730 to 1930, all those sword marks made here, you can see them in Klingenthal. From 1730 to 1930, different, where this was agricultural tools. But here you can see all the marks and you can compare it and see and check on the blades.
Yeah, that's well, again, particularly to historians, this kind of thing is really useful information because you can track things much more
And now
precisely.
for lovers of curved blades.
Oh,